Welcome to Gene and Mike do the New York Times crossword.
Hi, I'm Jean.
And I'm Mike. And today we are doing the crossword for Thursday, June 27th, 2024. So, did you do the crossword?
I ate this crossword.
You ate the crossword? Yum. I wonder why you said that.
Might have something to do with the theme.
The theme?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. We have to talk about the theme immediately because that's all that this crossword is, a giant theme.
Well, I guess
a delicious theme.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, well, the crossword, first of all, looked very different because it was circular, or as circular as you can get with a crossword. So, you had the four sides, but they didn't go all the way to the corner. They were cut off, and then you had alternating squares going up, like stair steps going up and down to the four sides to create kind of a circular looking puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had a number of very unusual clusters of black squares separating the words. And there was a clue related to that, 26 across: pepperoni, mushroom, or green pepper, or what each cluster of black squares represents in this puzzle. And the answer to that was pizza topping. So if you got the answer to that, you knew that this was a puzzle about pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then I guess what would be considered the ultimate themed clue was 41 across, which was feature of a deluxe pie and of this puzzle. And the answer to that was a stuffed crust. And the reason that this puzzle had stuffed crust was that every square that was on the edge of this somewhat circular puzzle was a rebus. It had two letters in it instead of just one.
Yes.
So the stuffed crust went all the way to the end of the puzzle, and the ST was in one square. So I guess this crust was stuffed with an extra letter in each square.
Right.
So, and then if you answer the puzzle correctly, if you got everything right, it actually turned into a pizza, where the black squares, there were three squares of black squares made up of four squares. Those turned red, so those were the pepperoni. And then there were some just little tiny green squares sort of scattered, and those turned into the green pepper. And then there were some kind of, mushroom-shaped squares together, and those turned into the mushrooms. So they turned kind of a tan, and the little smattering of green pepper squares turned green, and the pepperoni ones turned red. The crust turned a dark brown.
Right.
And then the rest of the squares on the inside were a lighter brown.
And then a number popped up giving you...
I suppose that was the mozzarella cheese on top.
Ah, okay.
So, but yeah.
I was going to say, and then a number popped up for your local Pizza Hut.
No.
That would have been the ultimate ad placement.
Yeah, sponsored by Pizza Hut.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Times would never deign to that, though.
No, they probably wouldn't. But it took me a while to figure out what was going on with the theme. But once I figured it out, then the answers came pretty fast and furious.
I had exactly the same experience. I started off and was just naively filling in clues. So, for instance, one across, Chateau is to France as blank as to Spain. I saw four letters and I thought casa.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing I could think of.
Right, but that's not really a chateau. That's just a house.
Right, but for considering my Spanish, that was pretty close.
Yeah.
But the answer turned out to be Castillo.
That's right.
And as you say, all those letters were part of the topmost row of the pizza, and so they were all rebuses: CA in one square, ST in the next, and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The one next to it, 5 across, llama relative with prized wool. I had 3 letters. I went for MU.
MU. That's a bird.
Well, we're all sort of related. They have DNA. We have DNA. Llamas have DNA. So that was a bit of a stretch.
Yes, definitely.
But and I was just struggling for the longest time. I thought at one point that when you hit the crust, you had to go either up or down to try and create the pattern. Then that got me nowhere. And then when I finally figured it out, as you say, the clues themselves were mainly pretty easy.
Once you knew that you had an extra square in each one of the
right. But
answers,
if you look at a lot of these clues, they were not difficult, not like yesterday's. This was way easier because I think it had to be to make that, to be able to make a crossword like this in the first place would have been incredibly impressive. But ones like 20 across, lose every penny. Or lose every last penny. Well, of course, go broke sounds right, and that indeed is what the answer was.
Right.
Or 16 across, secret infatuation is a crush.
Yes.
They weren't trying to, so to speak, crush your spirit here.
Right.
They were just trying to make a fun puzzle, and they being Paola Pasco and Sarah Sinclair really did.
Well, like 31 across. Jazz singer James. I mean, how many times have we seen Etta James in the puzzle?
Yes.
But of course, you only had 3 squares.
Right.
And it's like, well, maybe there's another James. But I thought there's like a Rick James, but that would take 4 squares too. And so, but it turned out that the last 2 letters were in the crust. So it was E-T and then T-A and a rebus.
It was pretty amazing. But when I finished this crossword, something went wrong just as I was finishing the crossword.
Oh, no.
And it said, you are no longer connected to the internet. It told me that I won. I saw the pizza change, and then I couldn't get connected for a bit. And then when I got connected, I didn't have anything done. So I redid it this afternoon. And when I did it, took me 10 minutes and 19 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
It's amazing how fast you can go when you know the answers.
Yes, Yeah, but this took me 33:22, so about a little over half an hour. Which, for Thursday, that's not too bad.
No, that's good. That's good. That's good.
The thing that took the most time was going up to the top of the screen and clicking on rebus.
That's interesting. I was thinking about that. The fact the user interface they have is not geared for putting in multiple rebuses.
No.
It would have been so nice if it remembered you were doing a rebus.
Or if you could just do command something and you'd get a rebus.
Right.
But no, for every one of those crust squares, and there were a lot of them.
Yes.
You had to go up and click on rebus and then go back down to the puzzle and fill the rebus in.
And for people who don't like rebuses, and there are many of them on Wordplay,
oh, you bet.
They're probably just like over the moon. Well, or over something, I don't know.
Well, I'm not a great fan of rebuses, although
You're
they have
not?
grown on me over the years, and I can see their value in creating a more challenging and interesting puzzle.
Right. Here. I'm a huge rebus fan. I have a tattoo that says "I heart rebuses."
Oh yeah, where's that?
Well, I asked my tattoo artist to hide it, so I don't actually know where.
Oh, okay.
Let's see, what else do we have here? There was 14 across. I thought was great. Part of a row, spelled R-O-W, that might have a row, R-H-O, and I had no idea. Eventually got it to be fraternity.
Yes.
That was quite.
That was a great clue.
17 down. When I hadn't grasped the rebus yet, 13 across, one of 2 heard in This Kiss. I went for soft eye because I thought, it's something to do with the eyes. And then I was trying to figure out, I don't think there's such a thing as a hard eye.
No.
But once I had the rebus, I had an extra letter so I could get short eye.
That's what it was.
That's what it was, yes. 18 across, before I knew the theme, sounds from fans, I had olays.
Oh.
And then once I understood the theme, it was sounds from fans. It was whirs.
Right.
Those kinds of fans.
Right. One that really kind of baffled me, and I'm not sure why, but 20 down, stare in amazement, goggle.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I've never really thought of goggle as being a stare of amazement. I think of goggle as something you wear over your eyes. But.
Yeah, but I also have, I don't see it very often, but I've seen it as you just sort of, like there's also agog, which
Yes, I've heard
which
that.
may be related to that, but no, that sounded
Goggle.
That sounded right to me.
Oh, okay.
Rare but correct.
Okay.
That's how I'd classify it. 36 across. That was laundry challenge for a mountain biker. And I had it ending in stain, and I thought, well, it should be a grass stain. But then I only had 2 more squares, and then that included the rebus. Turned out it was a mud stain.
That's right.
Which makes more sense, I guess.
Definitely.
On a mountain, you probably have more mud than grass.
Right. One tricky clue, I bet, for a lot of people was 3 down, although I didn't have any problem with it. A college team whose name is its home state minus 2 letters. And that was Illini.
Right.
The Fighting Illini from the University of Illinois, which played just down the road from where I grew up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. When I first read this, I had it in my head that minus 2 letters, I took that to be the last 2 letters.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's see, Nort. Is there a Nort team for North Dakota? Or something? But then eventually I realized it was just, you could just take any 2 letters. They weren't specifying the last ones.
They are the last 2 letters of Illinois, O-S, right? Illini.
No, it's Illinois. They kept the I. They lost the O from before the I and the S after. So they weren't the last 2.
Yeah.
Another one, 50 across, rough houses, ? Was stuccos.
Yes, I thought that was funny.
I was stuck on stuccos for a while. And then, I was sure I was there. I could start to tell that there was probably a rebus here, although I wasn't able to articulate it yet, when I got to 63 across. First name of 3 lead actors playing Marvel superheroes. And I thought, I think it's Chris.
Yes.
But I temporarily decided it was Paul.
Oh.
Because again, I had 4 squares, and I wasn't thinking rebus at that point.
That is where I discovered the rebus.
At Chris?
At Chris, because I thought, well, there's Robert Downey Jr. Chris Helmsworth plays Thor, and Chris Pratt plays Guardian of the Galaxy, Star-Lord.
Right.
And Chris
Peter
Evans plays Captain America.
Wow, you're good.
Mm-hmm. So I knew that had to be Chris. So I thought, rebus.
Okay.
I finally figured out rebus. Even I had this, I had the idea that it was going to be stuffed crust, although I had the stuffed, but I'm like, well, it should be stuffed crust, but I don't have enough letters or enough squares.
Right.
But when I got to Chris there, I thought, oh, we got a rebus going on here. So.
It's interesting what pushes you over the edge into believing. Your brain, I think, first rejects it. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like I don't want there to be a rebus here. But then eventually, it's just like it's got to be a rebus, or this crossword's not going to fill itself.
I have the same thing with pizza topping. I have the topping, but I'm like, well, I don't have enough letters for pizza, so I had, there must be some other kind of topping. Mm-hmm. But I did have enough with the rebus. So.
It was fun getting to that point.
Yeah, then it kind of fell together quickly, except for having to put a rebus in like every clue.
I think
every answer.
For those people who spotted the rebuses immediately, I don't think this would be as much fun.
No.
Somehow, because, it's more interesting when you have to sort of like go back and rethink and revoke. Mm-hmm. 60 across. Let's see, Spanish grandmother. I was sure that was going to be like Tia something.
No, that's aunt.
Oh, yeah, we've had this conversation before. It was abuela. Abuela, yes.
And grandfather is abuelo.
Right, and that crossed with a definitely New York Times style crossword clue, King of the Fairies in a Midsummer Night's Dream, Oberon.
Right. And I knew that, and I thought, oh, it's Oberon, but of course I didn't have enough, so I thought, maybe it's some other name, but it's like, I just knew it was Oberon.
Right.
But Yeah,
And it
it's one
was
of
a
my favorite
Thursday.
Shakespeare plays.
You know, the traditional day for rebuses.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And they had the word stuffed. It's just like, how many clues do
Yeah,
you need?
I know. Like they're hitting you over your head with it. But
Well, at least they didn't tell you there may be rebuses in today's crossword.
uh-huh. Or the first clue went across what you'll find quite a few of in this puzzle. And the answer was rebus.
All right. Well, I think that is it for today then.
All right.
So thanks everyone for listening. Hope you did well on this crossword.
Yes.
Let us know. Let us know what you think about that crossword and this podcast. And we will be back again with our cutting edge analysis of tomorrow's crossword.
Friday.
Which probably won't have a rebus.
Probably not.
But don't quote me. I didn't write it.
It might be tough, though.
That's right. And we'll be back again with all of our analysis tomorrow.
Bye-bye.